thing a lot of screenwriters always, especially young screenwriters coming out, is what's a high concept versus a low concept.
Sure.
That's a big thing. Can you just explain to people what a high and low concept is?
Oh man, thank you. I appreciate that. I actually love talking about this because high concept is so huge right now, but I actually have some theories on it. So high concept is really an easily explainable idea. It's something that's easy to market, which is kind of why producers really hop on it because it tends to have a wider demographic. So, something like Jurassic Park is a high concept film because it's, a dinosaur park where the dinosaurs get out and go crazy. It's really easy to explain. But a low concept, or also called like a non-high concept, is really your character study film. It's the indie film where they kind of lean into a character and less about the world and more about how the character sees the world and interacts with the world. And personally, I feel that high concepts are getting less popular, and you're seeing lower returns on these films, but you're seeing an uptake in the low concept character study films. And a nice example I like to use is that new Joker film coming out with Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, that's a low concept film, and it's getting a lot of buzz. And I think you're going to really start seeing a big uptake in that with the market right now.
Yeah, I think the audience. Well, the thing is that the audience is just getting smarter, man. We're so much more sophisticated. I mean, you and I are of similar vintages, so we've seen hundreds of thousands of hours of entertainment and story and I must have easily seen tens of thousands of movies in my life.
Oh, sure.
I mean, I worked in a video store, so I mean, for 5 years, something like that. So I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff in my day. So all of that input, and we're trained, like we're in the business. Yeah. So can you imagine someone who's not in the business and still, like I always use my wife as the barometer. Like if she calls it out, like she's like, oh, the character development was just so weak, wasn't it? And I'm like, who are you? And I didn't marry this. Like, I don't understand how you know that. She's like, look, I've been living with you for so many years. Something has to have rubbed off some point or another. But when she's talking, I'm like, there was just no motivation there, or it felt dry, or this or that. It's interesting to see people outside the business, and that's what the reality is of our world now. We're so savvy, and can you imagine the kids coming up now?
Well, I mean, my son is, he started writing screenplays, and he actually won a bunch of awards. He's 13 now, but when he was 10, before he was really getting into screenwriting.
So let's stop this. Let's stop this right here. Bastard. I can't believe a 13-year-old's writing screenplays. I didn't even know what a movie camera was at 13. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
I know. I can't believe it either, dude.
I had a kid on who's like, yeah, I'm 17. I've shot, like 6 features already. And I've, and they're on Amazon Prime. I'm making a little bit of money with them, but I really want to and I'm like, first of all, we all hate you, so understand that right away. So let's get that out of the way and let's move on from there. But no, it's just a different world. Like it's a world that you and I can't even think about because it was just, we didn't have it. It didn't exist. I didn't mean to call your son a bastard. I apologize. Move on. All right, so you're saying
I won't tell him.
All right, so he really started at 10 years old, so that even makes it better.
We were sitting in a theater, and this is before he started writing, and we got through a movie, and I don't want to name it, but he looked over to me and he goes, "That character development was terrible, and the ending of the movie totally destroyed the arc." And I was like, "Whoa, hold on a second.
Please name it. No.
I don't want to name it.
It's Justice League. It's Justice League. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, he had issues with that one too.
I'm sure.
But I looked at him and I was like, "Do you want to do what Daddy does?" And he's like, "Well, I'll give it a shot." So then he wrote his little screenplay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, so I mean, they get it. They've seen the same beats, like you said, and they've kind of learned it through osmosis.
Right, exactly. I mean, the things that, when I read Sid Field's book, that was the first time, I think for an entire generation.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the book that everyone was like, what? It's all the same story? At 20 minutes, something happens. At this time, it happens here. Like, that was mind blowing to me. And I wasn't even in, I think I wasn't even in film school, or I just got out in film school when I read that. It was insane when I read that. And now that's common knowledge. Like the hero's journey, everybody knows the hero's journey. Like, it's just something that's built into our psyche at this point in the game. So that would make sense why high concept movies are starting to waver. And the Joker is a really great example of that. I was going to ask you, where does The Matrix fall in? Because The Matrix is not high concept. It is and it isn't. Because you can't pitch that.
That balance, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can't pitch that in a sentence.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. They definitely lean into the monomyth figure, though, the holy figure that way. And so I think by doing that, they're able to lean into the intercharacter relationships, and then they really explore that world. And exploring that world is definitely a high concept take. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think they strike that balance, which is incredibly difficult,